Listen now, we the talk around town. Alex threw the ball to Smokey for a touchdown. It's fourth down and you don't really want no more. We've been winning from the door. You should check the scoreboard. Check the scoreboard.
Welcome back to another episode of the Scoreboard. It's getting there. We're getting close. We have conference championship predictions today. Also, we're going to talk about Deshaun Watson later in the show. Where's he going to end up? We don't know, but he doesn't want to stay in Houston, that's for sure. Smokey, how are you doing?
Man, I'm good. I'm better than the Browns fans right now. But if I can offer some condolences, you did great. I mean, the Browns got extremely far. Nobody, except for me, expected them to go that far. So you guys should be happy about this season. I know it hurts right now, but you'll be back.
For most of the Browns fan base, this was the best season of their lives.
Exactly.
So you can't be too disappointed with that, especially considering they might be back next year. This probably wasn't a one year wonder. If that system sticks around, they might be back in the playoffs sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
So I think it's good news for the most part. I would have expected you to come out with the cheap shot, with the obvious one, and say you're doing better than Saints fans.
Man, that I try not to think about that game, man. That's Jesus Christ. The one time I root for the Saints and this happens.
Well, it's kind of the meteorite game for Falcons fans, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, if they both could have lost, that would have been even better. But I'm just there's not much more that I hate in football than Saints and Tom Brady. So I was choosing the lesser of two evils and cheering for the Saints to finally get out the evil that is Tom Brady.
Are the Saints really the lesser of? I mean, I don't particularly like either team, but are they the lesser of the evils? To me, it's like I don't really care.
Yeah. I mean, it's close. It's very close. If this was last season, I would have cheered for the Bucs because Tom Brady wasn't there. But Tom Brady, rocketed them into that number one position for most hated team. So had to cheer for the Saints, and they let me down. So I don't care anyway. They deserve it.
Nothing is ever worse than the Seahawks. They could have if the Buccaneers were made up of 11 Tom Bradys on offense and 11 like 5 Myles Garretts and 5 Vontaze Burficts on defense and 1 Adam Jones. They would still be and a line of Richie Incognitos, exactly. That would still be much preferable over any Seahawks team, especially Pete Carroll there. But that's the talk for another day, because the Seattle Seahawks are not relevant. 1 playoff win in 4 years with a Hall of Fame quarterback. I don't know about that. Maybe got some problems cooking up there. But that's none of my business.
It's tough.
We got 2 games coming up, and I will say one thing before we get into it. You have a bet running, and you use my betting account, that's why I know you do, for the Bills and Packers in the Super Bowl. And you made that bet, I believe, before the wild card round.
Yes.
And you have 18-1 odds on that bet.
Yeah.
And right now, you've made some serious equity on that bet, because it's very possible that this is actually going to happen.
Maybe. I'm hoping. I mean, maybe. I bet the odds aren't that high now. I mean, what, it's got to be closer to 4
I'm sure if you bet it now, it would be like would have to be like 4-1 roughly. I think 4-1 pretty much exactly, because the Packers are favored by 3 points, the Chiefs are favored by 3 points, so it should be pretty much exactly 4-1. But you got 18-1, so that's serious value already.
Yeah, dude,
and that would be almost $200 if you win that.
That'd be great, man. $10 into 200, that works for me.
Wouldn't mind it.
Yeah, man. I got to stick with the Packers. I mean, you just gave away my picks here, because there's no other option for me to do than to stick with my predictions here.
Stick with your bet. So we're gonna do it officially. We're gonna do it officially. First of all, I have to ask, how's our standing?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Though I don't like asking, but I have to.
Because I beat you last week.
It's true.
We disagreed on one game, and that was the Ravens and the Bills. You should have known. You never bet against the Bills. You never bet against Josh Allen.
Since when does that rule? That rule has not existed for longer than like 14 days.
It's been around forever, bro. I can't believe you never heard of it. But yeah, so the Ravens got just slobber knocked all over the field there, and Lamar Jackson was shut down. That's what I was worried about. If you can stop the running quarterback, you stop the Ravens. And obviously the Bills had their number for the entire game. It does kind of worry you if you just look at the box scores and say that the offense was not just massively producing like we've seen in the past few weeks. But when you're up by 2 touchdowns, is there really a need for it? Obviously the Ravens weren't going to do anything at that point. If you go into the fourth quarter and you're up by 2 touchdowns, there's no reason not to take the foot off the gas, especially when they can't put up any offense at all. So I'm not that worried about it, but it is alarming just on the surface. But
well, keep in mind that the Ravens defense is pretty good. Like they're a strong defense, putting up 17, but allowing 3. That's the masterpiece. That's unbelievable. I made a video on the game. I analyzed the Buffalo versus Baltimore game, and they got dominated. I mean, the Bills looked phenomenal.
Yeah, they did, man. That's the best we've seen that defense play in at least 2 to 3 seasons. The Bills have been known, for quite some time for having a decent defense, but. And I ain't gonna lie, I've had some criticism of the Deshaun McDermott defense this season, but if they play like that, I feel much better about their chances heading into the Chiefs here.
If they play like that, they'll be tough to beat. They'll absolutely be tough to beat. We're gonna go in chronological order though, starting with the NFC game, which is the first one that's gonna go down. We have the Bucs at the Packers at Lambeau Field in what's predicted to be 4 to 8 inches of snow.
Whew. Yeah, and who does that favor there? Maybe.
I guess you would think the Packers. I know Tom Brady kind of knows those temperatures,
exactly,
and that weather from 20 years being in the AFC East. But the rest of the Bucs really don't. If you've played in Florida all your life, you might be a bit surprised.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I guess so. So. I guess you could give the Packers, that 3-point home advantage, as the odds obviously are, and then give them a slight advantage for playing in the snow because they're used to the colder weathers more than the Bucs are. I don't know, man. Tom Brady just scares me in a game like this. Like he scared me last week, and we see what happens. How would the NFL feel seeing the Bucs in the Super Bowl in their hometown? Yeah, at home. I guess for ratings it is what it is because it's Tom Brady. And you're not going to pack out the stadium because of COVID restrictions, so I can't say that the refs are going to lean toward the Bucs here, but it's very much possible.
Weren't they planning to have a sold-out stadium? I think weren't they planning to fill the stadium with healthcare workers?
Yeah, at one point, but that plan was never actually approved, or at least the last time I checked, it hasn't been approved by the Super Bowl committee. Which, you can correct me if I'm wrong now because I haven't looked at it lately. But as of late last week, they still hadn't approved it, from what I could find.
Okay, no, I had only incidentally heard of that being the plan.
Yeah, I saw that too. As long as they're vaccinated.
But it's all about TV ratings anyway. That's where the money comes from. It doesn't really come from tickets anyway.
Yeah, so TV ratings. There's not a better matchup you could have right now than Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. So this should do numbers, for that game. And Mahomes' ratings also at this point. But overall, I'm sticking with the Packers. They're going to take this at home and make me very happy.
Because you got to win a bunch of money, maybe, if the Bills also win. So this is a very simple scenario that we've seen a lot of times before. It's Aaron Rodgers against the world, and it's about a 50-50 matchup from what I've known historically. Sometimes Aaron Rodgers beats the world, sometimes the world overwhelms Aaron Rodgers, and the Buccaneers are a better team in every single spot except for quarterback, and this is something that Aaron Rodgers is used to, especially playing the playoffs. That's usually the case. I believe it's the case with most playoff teams. You could even argue the Bears are a better team overall than the Packers if you take away the quarterback role. I've said this for many years. If the Packers had the average quarterback substituted in for Aaron Rodgers, they'd be a 6-win team. And that has been something that we've seen, for example, last year in the NFC Championship game, can come back to bite them in a major way. Because if Aaron Rodgers doesn't have a career game for even his standards, they get blown out like they did last year. And that is something that can happen again. Now, he's had the best season of his career, which is unbelievable to say because he's already been one of the best players ever up until this point. But this year, he's found another gear somehow. And he's been on top of his game, and he's been dominating the league like I've barely ever seen anyone dominate the league. Maybe you could argue Mahomes 2 years ago, but even then, the supporting cast that Aaron Rodgers is doing this with is unbelievable. I think the Buccaneers didn't look phenomenal if we take into consideration how bad the Saints were. And the Saints did not look good. I mean, they did not look like a team that should have even been in the divisional round. Drew Brees, it might have been his last game, but let's be honest, he stunk. He was bad. And I think, and I said this, I think they would have had a better chance of coming back to win that game if they put in Jameis Winston sometime the second half. I think they should have put Jameis in because Drew Brees looked horrible. Now, if it's his last game, there's no way they'll ever do it, right? They're never going to sub him out in a playoff game. Yeah. But didn't look good. Did not look good. Defense wasn't there as promised. Too many mistakes, and the quarterback play was horrible. And the Buccaneers weren't on top of their game by any means. If those Bucs run into that Aaron Rodgers, like both teams play the way we've seen them play last week, the Packers are going to win. But because it's all dependent on one player, it's a very tough choice. Now, the rule of thumb is, of course, to never bet against Aaron Rodgers, as opposed to Josh Allen, which is a rule that needs to be established first. It's the first year that ever makes sense, even. There are exceptions to that rule. I don't think this is one of them. I'm going to stick with what you also said. I think the Packers are going to win the game because Aaron Rodgers this year, he's been the best performing player over a period of time that I've simply ever seen. And I think he's going to carry that into another Super Bowl, which is unbelievable, but I think he'll do it. And the Buccaneers have to get better, right? We can't get fooled into thinking they've improved so much that they just beat the Saints, who blew them out twice in the regular season. No, the Saints were much, much worse than they've been during the regular season in that game. So I'm going to stick with Aaron Rodgers, going to trust in Aaron Rodgers. He's going to have to be the world breaker again, but he's been doing that all season. So I think he will do it again. And then going into the AFC, kind of expecting to know your pick already, but we have the Bills and the Chiefs.
Man, speaking of the best player ever, definitely Josh Allen in any other season probably would be the front runner for the MVP, but yeah. Like you said,
listen, he wins the MVP 9 out of 10 times with the performance that he's had if he plays in the universe where Aaron Rodgers is not a thing. Absolutely.
Exactly. Last season, it would be right there. He'd be probably just a step ahead of Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Season before that, you can argue that was one of the best quarterback seasons ever,
Yeah, that was also tough with Mahomes. Yeah.
Exactly. Before that, the Tom Brady season, oh, definitely. He's a shoo-in to win. But
and the Matt Ryan season before that also, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be close.
Yeah, you're doing that.
I'd probably give it to Josh Allen, though, to tell you the truth. But, it is what it is. Aaron Rodgers is still around, and he's going to win that MVP. Oh,
As
man.
he should.
And the only...
I mean, Josh Allen's going to win his MVP. Like, he's got 15 more years. He's going to win an MVP eventually.
Yeah.
If you keep playing that way.
Exactly.
There'll be a time when Aaron Rodgers is not in the league anymore.
That's true. And I got to look at how this trend plays out, too, because, he's on that Cam Newton trajectory, but Cam Newton had an injury following season and never played the same again, so...
Yeah, the difference, I think, is that they have a lot of the similar traits, but I think, here's why I think that Josh Allen is set up for more long-term success. At their peak, they're both absolutely phenomenal. I think Josh Allen is a more natural passer, but especially I think he plays smarter, right? Cam Newton played recklessly for most parts of his career. Like, he would Superman dive over piles. You don't see Josh Allen do that a lot.
Yeah, true.
You've seen Carson Wentz do it once, and he got hurt, and he hasn't been doing it since. And quarterbacks learn that. But Cam Newton took a beating like a running back every single game. You can't do that for 10 years. Josh Allen's playing smarter. The offense is designed for him to be able to play it smarter. They don't have the read option as much to design quarterback power runs. Like, you're running a gap scheme with a quarterback, you're not expecting that to last very long. And the Bills are doing a better job of protecting him there as well, and letting him throw the ball, avoiding those hits. So I think that's what eventually is going to end up making the difference.
Yeah, and I can hope so, because I really like Josh Allen, man. He's a good kid. This is tough, though. I mean, it is the Chiefs, and we see that the Chiefs are not that Chiefs juggernaut offense that we saw last season and the season before. They're just not on that level right now, and whoever we want to chalk it up to, it's the exact same parts, same players all on offense here. But I think it comes down to Patrick Mahomes, and if he is healthy this game. I'm sure no matter what, they're going to try to find a way that Patrick Mahomes plays. Concussion protocol, I'm sure they're going to whiz him right through there. He'll be fine. He had that. Yeah, exactly. He had that limp last week after one of his runs. I think it was a scramble, if I remember right. But then he got up limping, and he just didn't look right. And then he took the concussion. But either way, I think Andy Reid is going to do everything in his power to make sure Patrick Mahomes starts this game. So it's still kind of a toss-up, and that's why Vegas has it as a toss-up, but 3 points to the Chiefs for being at home. I'm going to stick with the Bills, though. I mean, I can't stop betting on them at this point, and I think it'll be tough, and I think it'll be a close game. I'm not as afraid of the Chiefs as I would have been, games back, at least mid-season and before, especially if it was the playoffs last season. I would say, there might not be a way that the Bills can stop them, but that defense is playing great. That Chiefs offense is not up to par is where they should be. So I'm gonna stick with the Bills, and let's see how it plays out.
Yep, I'm in a bit of a conundrum here. I'll get to that in a second. As for Mahomes, I think there's just no way he's not gonna play. Like, if he is sound of mind, like if he doesn't see triple anymore by Sunday night, he's gonna play. Protocol be damned. And a player on a Tuesday, almost Wednesday, after getting hurt on Sunday, still being in the concussion protocol typically means forget about it. He's out. Right? If you don't clear concussion protocol until 2-3 days later, there is no way you should be playing. But this is the playoffs, and this is Patrick Mahomes, the most important player on the team. They'll do whatever needs to be done. I've heard talk about league executives wanting the game to be postponed over this, which is ridiculous, by the way. But I've heard there's everything being undertook. Patrick Mahomes there will be a way for him to play. I am confident that it will. Now, if it won't, and they can't push it past legally, past the NFL, then there's no way the Chiefs ever going to win the game. They're going to get blown out. I think that, and I've said this in my video as well against the Bills. I've said it for weeks. This matchup is prohibitively favoring Buffalo in the way that those teams, the philosophies of those teams line up, because the Chiefs, or the strength of the Chiefs defense is the one thing you cannot do against Buffalo, and they try to blitz the quarterback. You can't do it. Those screens are going to burn you. You can't cover Stephon Diggs. You don't have the personnel to cover him one-on-one. And you're not going to send 6 people after Josh Allen, because he's the best quarterback in the league against those kinds of blitzes.
Oh, yeah.
So, and defensively, I mean, if you can keep the Ravens to 3, you can keep the Chiefs to, let's say, 17.
Yeah,
and Buffalo's gonna score over 20 points in this game, because the Chiefs will have a tough time against this offense. I think Buffalo's a prohibitive favorite to win the game. Looking at the matchup now, here's my conundrum: I'm behind by 1 point in the playoffs predictions, and I won the regular season. I want to also win the playoffs. So I have a choice. I can either disagree with you right now, or I have to disagree with you in the Super Bowl.
Yes, exactly.
That's the problem. If I pick the Bills, no matter what, I have to disagree with you next week. So I have a choice. If I pick the Chiefs and I lose, it's over, which is also not great. Unless we pick the Pro Bowl or something. So this is a really, really tough decision for me to make, and I'm thinking it over. I'm assuming the Packers make the Super Bowl. I think the Bills should still win. I think the Bills should be the overall favorite to win. If the Buccaneers somehow make it, I think the AFC should certainly win. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to agree with you today. I'm going to pick the Bills because I think this is the most lopsided matchup that we can get. I think either Buffalo or Kansas City against Green Bay is going to give me a tighter split for me to disagree with you. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go with the Bills as well, and then I'm already locking it in. I'm going to pick whatever you don't pick in the Super Bowl. That's all I can do, unfortunately, to win or to tie it, even to tie the prediction game. I would have to pick the Chiefs to be able to win it, but that's the best I can do. But I think Buffalo's going to win. I really think they're going to win. The way that they've played, the way that they are, like, as such a solid team, and the Chiefs are not as strong as they were last year. They almost lost to the Browns. Like, it was close. They had Baker driving on them, and listen, the Browns have been good, right? But the Bills are a different beast than the Browns. A very, very different beast. As are, I believe, the Ravens are a stronger team than the Browns. So, even though the Chiefs are favored, and this, by the way, is one of the bets I would definitely make. Like, if you got some spare money, put some money on the Bills to win this game, maybe also to win it all. They are the best team. They're the best team in the league. So, tough to pick against them.
Yeah. And I'll say this. If our picks come through on this, then I will be extremely happy in the Super Bowl, not only because of winning that bet, but because I will be happy with the outcome of the Super Bowl, no matter which one wins. Of course, I tend to lean toward the Bills, but I would be so much happier on Super Bowl Sunday to see the Bills versus Packers than I would be to see the Bucs versus Chiefs. That would completely ruin.
It's because you don't like the Bucs. That's the only problem.
Yeah, and the Chiefs. I don't have anything against the Chiefs. I just think it's time for the Bills to have that run. I think that the Bills. I think I like the Bills the most. Like, I favor the Bills. I like the Chiefs as well. They're probably my two favorite AFC teams. And in the NFC, I don't particularly love either team, but just Aaron Rodgers being Aaron Rodgers makes it impossible to really root against him. Yeah. I don't know. I kind of like the Packers. They're not like up in my top 5 teams. Well, maybe close. Maybe they're on the periphery.
The thing is that the gripe that I have with the Packers is that I'm kind of bitter about them wasting Aaron Rodgers. If San Francisco had picked him, we'd have double-digit Super Bowl wins by now. But we picked Alex Smith, so like it's sort of like there's like a brand new car available in the lottery, and like you buy a ticket and you lose it, but then some other jerk wins it and he like runs it into a wall after a week, and you're like, what a waste. Like I could have done so much more with this, and that's how I feel. Like, you give Aaron Rodgers to Kyle Shanahan or Jim Harbaugh. I mean,
you guys picked.
It'll be over. It would have been over. It would not have been the Patriots being in 10 Super Bowls over the last 20 years. Have been the Niners.
Ooh. I mean, well, they still could have been in the Super Bowls.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Maybe it would have been both.
But, you guys picked Alex Smith ahead of Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers was still on the board.
You picked him first overall.
Yeah.
We picked the Ryan Leaf to the Packers' Peyton Manning. Well, it's not that bad. Like, Alex Smith is fine, but if it wasn't Aaron Rodgers, it wouldn't be as big of a problem because Alex Smith is fine, right? He was fair enough. He was good, but
going back through the whole story of Aaron Rodgers, and I'm trying to figure out what exactly made him fall down the draft board.
Not a lot of quarterback needy teams. Like, it was really like he goes first overall to San Francisco, or he falls a couple spots.
Well, and just like this season, Green Bay didn't need a quarterback, but they took one also because Brett Favre was still there at the time. But I mean, it's not like a Laramie Tunsil thing where some video came out of him doing something bad. So it's just weird to think that probably the best quarterback of an era. You can argue Tom Brady and Peyton Manning or whatever. Actually, I wouldn't put Aaron Rodgers in the Peyton Manning era because there's a good gap in between those two. But
yeah, it's almost a different half generation.
Yeah, but definitely, he's in the era with Tom Brady and Drew Brees and Matt Ryan.
But he's better in all
Phillip
of them,
Rivers.
and you can include Peyton. Like, Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback that's played in the 21st century. He's better than Peyton Manning. He's better than Tom Brady as a quarterback. That's simply the facts.
Yeah, and as an athlete overall.
Yeah,
and Drew Brees
for sure.
in that category also. He's a better athlete than all three of them.
Yeah,
but
and a better passer.
Yeah, and I guess Patrick Mahomes is probably going to fall more into the 20s instead of the teens or whatever. So.
I think that's going to be considered a different generation.
Yeah. But
because that was over 10 years difference.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we'll see how this plays out.
Him and Josh Allen are going to be the next big ones, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. And a lot of people were thinking Lamar and Kyler Murray, but yeah, I think this could come down to Peyton and Brady for all those years. It could be Mahomes and Josh Allen for years.
I'd be willing to maybe add Justin Herbert to that list as well after only one season.
Yeah, that's very possible. Even Joe Burrow,
Yeah. There's a lot of exciting young quarterbacks. Time will tell who of those are going to be the real Hall of Famers. But there might be 4 Hall of Famers in these 2 games here.
Very possible. Very possible.
Well, the quality of quarterback play is immense. If I told you that the last remaining 4 teams, we'd have the 3 best quarterbacks in the league, and Tom Brady isn't even one of them.
That's awesome when you say the top 3 and Tom Brady is not one of them. I love that line. Like I should make a poster of that and put it on my wall because that's the greatest line ever said.
It's true this year, and it's immense. So we typically don't have it. Typically, if you think back over the last few years, there's always been at least one quarterback in the Super Bowl who wasn't exactly elite, like a top 5. You had Garoppolo, you had Goff, you had Nick Foles.
Yeah. And Nick Foles won.
And Nick Foles won, too.
Against
he was a better one then.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting for sure. Next week I have to, or the week after maybe if we go into the Super Bowl, I have to pick against you. That's already determined. So I hope it's going to be the Packers and Bills because that's probably the closest matchup. Where I just have to flip a coin because it's kind of unstoppable force and an immovable object.
Dude, I'm going to have so much fun in the Super Bowl if that's the game.
Yeah. It's going to be a great game. I think either way, it's going to be a great game for sure because all these teams can light it up. It should be phenomenal. Let us know your predictions about that in the comments of the video. Also rooting, by the way, for the Bills and Packers because I get a small cut of your bet since you're using my betting account.
Yeah,
I'll get $20 for that if you make it. So hopefully that happens. We have something else to talk about, and speaking of very good, potentially elite quarterbacks, the Houston Texans have one, but maybe not for much longer. As it seems like Deshaun Watson wants to do whatever he can to leave the city of Houston, and I mean they're already in the process of trading their star athletes away, so maybe Deshaun Watson is next. What do you think? What's a potential trading partner if it were to come that far?
Oh man, I definitely think Atlanta's a trading partner because, as we saw earlier in the offseason, well, I guess it's technically not the offseason, but after the regular season finished, Arthur Blank was quick to come out and say that yes, Julio and Matt Ryan are up on the trading block. If it need be. If it comes down to that, we can do that. And why would Deshaun Watson not want to come back home, Maybe there's better landing spots in his eyes, but I think, that's got to be a great setup for him to come back and play in front of his hometown crowd, And also play with some of his former teammates. I mean, we've got Clemson players in Atlanta, We got Alabama players that he played against. A
lot of them.
Yeah, exactly. So I think Atlanta, and maybe that's selfish, that's just homerism. But a lot of people are talking about the Saints, with Drew Brees definitely retiring now. Maybe it's the Saints. That's very possible. who knows? Eagles, if they want to trade Wentz away for him, I think they would have to add something in because they've kind of devalued Carson Wentz to next to nothing at this point. So, I don't know. Who would you like to see him go to?
I think there's about 25 fan bases right now that definitely see their team as a great fit. I know Niners fans are doing it. I think like who are the teams that are not really interested? You have the Packers, the Bills, the Chiefs, the Seahawks, and the Chargers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the teams that maybe they are Ravens, I guess, that they don't really care.
What about the Browns?
I don't think so. Because not because he's not a lot better than Baker, but because he doesn't fit that system as well.
Yeah.
I think Baker is Kevin Stefanski has created a system to where this quarterback is just a great fit for what he needs them to do. You don't really you don't need the standout explosive quarterback in the game manager role, which is what they're constructing there. They're constructing him as like a Kirk Cousins, Tom Brady, Alex Smith kind of position, kind of role, and he's good for that. I don't think they're gonna give up the farm for Deshaun Watson now and take a risk on that. I don't think it makes a lot of sense. But you could probably still count the amount of fan bases that are not interested on one hand.
Yeah, I can see that. I guess we couldn't throw Seattle in that category.
Yes, I said Seattle, like Russell Wilson. I think they'll be set. They're not going to be interested. But other than that,
what about Arizona? Do you think they would?
I mean, it depends on what you want. Is what do you want in return? You get Kyler Murray and our first-round pick. I'll do it.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray and this year's first. I'll definitely take Deshaun Watson for that. Reports say that his favorite destination is Miami.
Yeah, I've seen that, and they're going to be trading away Tua, which kind of makes me mad, though. I mean, as great as I think Deshaun Watson is, he is my favorite quarterback in the league, although he's rivaled by Josh Allen at this point. But so far, since his career began, he has been my favorite quarterback in the league. Homerism aside with Matt Ryan or whatever. But I don't know. It's crazy that you haven't given Tua the time. I mean, Tua could be as good as Deshaun Watson.
Yes, he could be. And they're going to treat him like Josh Rosen. They're going to give him that treatment.
Tua also won a national championship. Tua was also a Heisman finalist.
He won 10 games this year. Well, he didn't win all of them, but the Dolphins look good. He looked really good.
Yeah.
He's a good if they beat Buffalo that last week, they just win one more game, they make the playoffs. And we have none of this discussion about Tua. Like, oh, he made the playoffs his first season as a starter. What a legend. He's going to be great. And because he missed that one game and he got hurt and got replaced, we're talking about trading him away? Listen, Deshaun Watson is phenomenal. But you might have a guy in the house who can be that, and you don't need to invest additional capital in that. You have the guy, build around him for the Dolphins. I think it would be a completely reckless move to trade Tua away, because you're not going to get a 1-for-1 swap, right? You're going to have to put some more on the line. It has to be Tua and a couple picks.
Yeah, for sure. I don't see it, man. If Brian Flores goes that route, I would have to question what he's thinking, man, because I couldn't see giving up that much stake, and your possible, a player that could possibly be as good. I don't know. I mean, I like, like I said, I love Deshaun Watson, but I don't think I would do it if I was in his position.
Tua doesn't want to be with the Texans. He doesn't want any part of that either. I can promise you that.
Why you say that? Because
the Texans are going down. They're a dumpster. They're the next Browns. They're horrible.
Yeah.
They're going to be really. Listen, if Deshaun Watson's gone, the JJ Watt might leave. They're going to be horrible.
Yeah.
That'd be the worst team in the league.
Dude, I will be so happy when Deshaun Watson leaves Texas, because I will have no reason to cheer for that team anymore. That team is horrible. I hate the Texans except for Deshaun Watson. So
it's the Aaron Rodgers situation. You don't hate the team. You're just mad at them for wasting the talent.
Exactly. That's what it is.
Now here's a thought experiment that I've been having. I've been playing with a lot over the past few days, and I was considering maybe making a video on this at some point. I'll propose you this trade. I'll give you I'll give you Deshaun Watson, and you're the Jaguars, and I'm going to give you Deshaun Watson in exchange for Trevor Lawrence and a second and next year's first.
Ooh. Wow, that's tough.
How about the Jaguars?
Yeah. That actually, man, that would probably work out for both teams, to tell you the truth, because Deshaun doesn't want to be there, of course. And if Eric Bieniemy ends up in Texas, then he could probably do some great things with Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, and I'm sure Urban Meyer wouldn't mind a potential top 5 veteran quarterback right off the bat. The question is, of course, how's the fit, right? If you're the Texans, you're knees deep in a rebuild. Like, it's looking bad. So what you want is you want quantity, right? If you're gonna get Trevor Lawrence first round pick, you want a quantity, a lot of draft capital in terms of you want a lot of picks to rebuild that roster, which is terrible right now. So maybe it makes sense to sell off Deshaun Watson now for a quarterback who could potentially be as good or better than him in a few years. You load off the heavy contract, you get a few cheap years off Trevor Lawrence, and you get a lot of draft capital to get a quantity of amount of players in, which is really the most important focus. And in exchange to Jaguars, you get the done deal.
Yeah.
Instead of having developing your own guy.
I think that's a great deal, as a matter of fact. I'm glad you brought that up, because I had never thought about Jacksonville trying to get rid of the number 1 spot at all, because, you know, as we've said multiple times, you know, this is the best draft, pre-draft, you know, candidate, you know, whatever you want to call him, since Andrew Luck. So, and before that, Peyton Manning. So, yeah, that I never once thought that they maybe would want to give that up, but that is a very intriguing deal.
You don't make this trade as for a lot of people. Like, in most quarterback classes, you don't give up Deshaun Watson for the first, but you do give up you might give up Deshaun Watson for Trevor Lawrence, just like you did give up Peyton Manning for Andrew Luck.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's kind of the same deal there. Oh man,
now Peyton was a bit older at the time already than Deshaun Watson is, so I'll have to think about this more and make up my mind about it. Maybe I'll make a video on that. But that's is one of the speculations I haven't heard at all. But I want to work out if that actually would make sense for teams. Maybe some if you have an opinion on that, let us know in the comments. That'll be an interesting one to think about.
Definitely.
You know, we'll see what happens. In terms of coaching, we've looked at it before. The time of recording, Eagles and Texans are the 2 remaining coaching vacancies at this point. Eric Bieniemy is still out there, can't be hired, of course, because the team's still in the playoffs. We'll see what happens there.
One of those is going to get him. I'm sure of that. I can't believe.
You would think so, yeah.
I can't believe the Lions, man. Jesus Christ, like, that's such a Lions move.
It is, yeah. Like, the Matt Patricia one was a Lions move.
Yeah, but yeah, even Matt Patricia, man. But really, Dan Campbell, come on, bro.
And Matt Stafford, by the way, is another one of those examples of you just kind of despise the team a little bit for wasting talent.
Yeah, wasted him. Yeah, I mean,
it sucks.
Jeez, I'm trying to think. When Stafford came out, you know, he was one of those, maybe not quite the stature of Andrew Luck, but he was right there the next tier under.
He was really good.
Yeah.
He was gonna be a future MVP.
Yeah, exactly. Heisman finalist, you know, was right there for the national championships, you know, kept Georgia in the top 5.
Did he ever play a single playoff game so far in his career?
Yes.
Not sure.
Yes, 2015.
Did he? Okay.
One game.
So they made it once.
Yes, one game.
That's not a lot for 10 years of being a supposed elite quarterback. Maybe he should be looking for the door to make use of the remaining 5 years or so that he has.
Yeah. Well, you would think, man, he could probably be right here in the mix if he actually publicly stated that he wants out. There's a lot of teams out there that would also want him. Maybe not
half the league.
Quite as high as Deshaun Watson, but there's a lot of teams that would want him.
Yeah,
sure.
Not quite as high because he's a bit older, but hey, half the league will take him for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we'll get more on Deshaun Watson as we probably go into the off season. There's a lot of teams to talk about there.
Would you, as the 49ers, take Matt Stafford?
given right now, it depends what we pay for him, but yeah, he would be a preferred option for the simple reason that he doesn't get hurt like Jimmy does. I think if Jimmy isn't hurt, he can play at the same level. He can be a top 10 quarterback, and he can win. We've seen that last year, but that's been the only year that he hasn't been hurt. And missing 2 years for every one winning season just because Jimmy gets hurt so much isn't worth it over the long run. So I would, at this point, I would put Stafford over Jimmy. Just for the injury reasons. If we don't pay a premium, I would do it.
Gotcha.
Sucks, but that's how it is, and it'd be a better situation for Stafford as well because
for sure
he's gonna have a fair shot with a competent organization. So we'll see how that develops. But let us know your opinions, your picks in the comments of the video, and next week we'll be back with our awards predictions. I've been told.
Yes.
Because we don't have Super Bowl, that's only in 2 weeks, so we're gonna have to pick or give out our season awards.
Yeah, definitely get it out before the NFL does it.
Yep, make the list for that, and we'll see if we disagree on some of those there. But be sure to tune in for that next week, and leave us a subscription as well. Do you have anything else to add for this week?
I think that's it for this week.
All right, everybody, thank you for watching. Drop us a like, subscribe to Beyond Football. Don't miss more of our content. Check out some of my analysis videos as well. Like I mentioned, Bills-Ravens analysis currently out. A lot of things to talk about there. Very interesting. So check that out if you haven't done that yet. And we're going to see you in the next one.
Deuces.